Right, welcome back to another Invades. This week I've got Adam on. It's been hard to get Adam pinned down.
Right, welcome back to another Invade.
God, Jesus, doesn't anything that does. So I've managed to pin Adam down. He's been elusive for the past 3 weeks. But anyway.
Sorry about
that. So welcome, Adam. It's great to have you on. It's right, a bit chilly. I've only just come in here about 20 minutes ago and I put the heating on. It's just started to warm up.
It is a bit chilly in the workshops, isn't it?
Yeah.
This time of year.
So, you've seen how we go, haven't you? And first of all, I'll give a bit of a shout out to everybody that's in the chat, and then we'll have a little chat ourselves.
Very good.
Guys, remember, if you want to ask Adam a question, Adam did tell me earlier on he's asked most of you in the chat questions in the past because he's new to woodturning. Well, not quite new, but anyway. So if you want to ask him a question, stick it in the chat with a capital Q. I'll do my best to see it. If not, just spam the chat and I'll see it eventually when I. So we've got Chris Spinning Wood Dodger. We've got Ruben Woodcraft. Barry Chitty. Oh, Adam, you're in the chat as well. Andy H is for turning. Tommy's Workshop. I'm there too. Helen Roberts. Welcome, Helen. Tommy. I've said Tommy's Workshop. Peter Corcoran. Circular Wood by Keith. Great live tonight, Keith. Wood Turning by Barry. What else we got? We got Gav. Today Woodwork. I can't pronounce that one. I
can't believe these people haven't got something better to be doing tonight than listening to you talk to me.
Altier de Lio. Sorry if I've just butchered your name. Michael and Christine and Michael Hestine. Matt Held. Shop Dog. Workshop. God, who else? There's loads of people in here tonight. Steve Ellis. My dad's in. The White Beard. Jim Conlon. Who else we got? Rob CP. Okay, right then.
So, Rich, just before you get going, Helen Roberts, most people in the chat will know as Auntie Helen because she's my Auntie Helen who regularly drops into my lives. So I always have one on the live.
Cool.
At least, so yeah.
So welcome, Auntie Helen. Thanks for coming in and watching. I hope you ask him some really awkward questions. Right, so welcome, Adam. It's great to have you on. We had a little bit of a chat. When was it? Wednesday? Yesterday, was it? I think.
Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday daytime, yeah. Let's get into some questions. I do apologise because if I'm a bit slow tonight, I've been stripping wallpaper all day and I've had to go and get a new sofa. So I only sat down 25 minutes ago. Right. Okay. So, Adam, I mean, we were talking the other day about wood turning and you only mentioned that you've actually only been wood turning since January. Is that right?
Yeah. So I really got into this. I guess it was around Christmas time, watching YouTubes, started just watching things spinning around, and the fact that people could transform something that was, what I probably thought was ugly wood at the time, and I probably think is beautiful wood now, but turning an ugly piece of wood into something spectacular like a box or a bowl or some kind of spindle, right? And then that moved into getting addicted to it and watching more and more hours on the YouTubes. And then I started talking to my dad about it, and my dad says, "Oh, your uncle's got a lathe. Maybe he'll let you have that because I don't think he's going to continue." So I picked up a lathe just after Christmas, put it in a container. And it sat there till February, end of February. Pulled it out, had a turn on it, and decided I need to buy a bigger one. within about 5 minutes, right? And then the pandemic kind of started, January, February, the news started kicking off. So I thought I really need to find something, to do. Lockdown started to be talked about, and I found a Hegner lathe, which was quite a large lathe. Well loved in the community, it turned out. I made quite a few friends through just buying this Hegner HDB 200. Tiny Turner, Emma, actually used one before until she got her Zebrano lathe recently. So I got that in my workshop, and then from there, really, basically since February, March time, start of the pandemic, that's when I kicked off with wood turning.
Yeah. Oh,
and the people, I should give a little shout out, right? The people that I was watching were Wayne Worth the Effort, Martin Sabin Smith, Wayne Clasper, Mark Gentleman Wood Turner, and a couple of others, right? There are a few others that I've discovered in the meantime that I watch as well, but those guys were the kind of first that I kind of came across in the masses.
I mean, it's lucky that the lockdown hit after you got your lathe.
Yeah, completely.
Because I bet you spent. Obviously, was you on furlough as well?
No, my work. I'm an IT program manager. Right, I work for IBM. My work is 100% wherever I'm sat with an internet connection. So as long as I'm connected, I'm working. So from that perspective, no. But what it did mean was I'm not sat on a client site in London, Scotland, or wherever IBM wished to send me, right? So so it meant I had more time at home, and in the evenings I was able to turn wood, right?
Yeah.
And because of lockdown, there were so many more minutes and hours being generated by the likes of yourself and Wayne and others, right? So I had IRDs coming out of my ears, basically.
Brilliant. So, we got a question. Bear with me.
Well,
so Chris Spinning Wood Dodger says, question: how big was the lottery win in order for you to stock your workshop?
So, Chris, I'm surprised that you haven't asked me about top. It's a good job you got your hair cut at last, right? Anyway, so because he always give me it through the pandemic, he used to give me stick over the fact that my hair grew quite long. Where did I get my wood from? Well, I've been really lucky, I guess, is the answer to that. Some of it has been research, but I bought a lathe, and along with that lathe came a workshop, and all of the wood from within that workshop and the tools. The chap had decided he wanted to get into metalworking and metal lathes, and he just said his wood dust doesn't mix with his metal stuff. He gave me all his wood. So that's one method of getting it. The other method was posting to Instagram and moaning that I can't find any decent wood anywhere, and I don't know how to locate it. And I'm not meaning of the round kind that comes out of a box that you pay over the internet or whatever. And something strange, really. Phil Irons popped up, right, and he's pretty well known, right, as a wood turner, and I was, didn't even know what I was doing, right. And he popped up and pinged and said, "Can I give you a call?" And I said, "Yeah, all right." I mean, to be honest, didn't really know who Phil Irons was at the time when he called me, right? And he said, "I'll give you some hints and tips as to how to find wood." So I'll share a couple now, shall I? So one of them was, he says, "I've got a dog," and he says, "I walk my dog in country lanes. I walk it down country lanes, down the back of people's houses. I have a look over their walls into their gardens and stuff like that. And if there's wood in there and it looks interesting or whatever, then I might tap on their door, or I might find out who it is and go and ask them, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that wood?" And he said, "You should do the same," right? So I did the same, and I found some wood just like that. Next thing he says, obviously tree surgeons and tree services companies. He said to me, you should try and befriend some woodmen, right? And I'd heard some horror stories from the community over the years, over the months, right, with people saying tree surgeons not interested, council guys not interested, all they want to do is chip the wood and throw it. And some do for sure. But there was a field nearby to us full of wood. It took me about 6 weeks to find out whose field it was. It turned out to be a chap called Mark Brumpton. I don't think he'll mind me sharing his name. He's a tree services company, and he pulls wood down at under contract, puts it in his field, chops it up, and sells it for firewood. Right. So I got hold of him, said, "Would you be interested in letting me have some wood for wood turning?" And he said he'd be more than delighted. He said it hurts him that he has to put that wood into firewood and sell it on. Amazing, right? Amazing that someone has that philosophy who's, obviously making money out of something. But I don't even make a dent in it. So there's a couple of ideas there that I think, my workshop now is full of wood, and I've got a wood library which I showed you the other day, which is we'll have a look later, right? Which is a load of round chunks of spalted beech and all sorts of stuff that have sat there for over 12 months now because I don't need to use it. I don't need to use it. Yeah, no. Mad.
Right, let's have a little look at we'll start off with your YouTube channel. Okay.
Not been very active recently, I have to say. I haven't done many lives in the last, just because. I've done a few. Look.
Yeah. So you're on 255 subscribers. How long have you had this channel? When was your 7 months?
I don't know. It's probably
11 months.
12 months, something like that. That's all.
Yeah. You've been churning the videos out. I mean, there's a few on here, aren't there?
Well, I kind of said to you, it's like
45.
If you watch my videos, you need to work out where the fast forward button is for a fair amount of it, because literally, there's two scenarios, right? I come out to my workshop, I switch the video on, the camera's on, and then I start. Right, I've not prepped too much normally, and I just get going, and I just have a workshop time, and it can be 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, and sometimes if you're lucky, it'll be the machine will reboot itself, OBS will come up, and it'll switch on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you'll get to see the sunrise without me in my workshop. There's a 5 or 6 hour video on here of that, which Steve Twidell and Leona Fay contacted me on Messenger and said, "Are you in your workshop?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, you're live on YouTube at the moment, so you might want to go out and see what's going on." Yeah, that was fun.
So, I mean, you started off with a lot of wood turning, and then you've kind of gone on to the laser. That's something that new that you've just recently picked up, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's a few people on here might recognise what I'm about to say, but I'm all the gear and no idea, right? So I got a lathe. I didn't know how to turn. Yeah, I got a 3D printer. I had no idea what I was going to use it for, but I've used it, and it's fun. I've now got a laser, which it turns out the software that comes with it doesn't work, but the laser's brilliant. So you helped me out the other day, right? I'm now trying to learn how to use the software and write G code and all sorts of stuff to burn things. Which I've managed to burn my son's name into a piece of plywood. That's not bad, is it?
I see. You got to start somewhere, and So Instagram, 1,621 followers. That's a healthy following. This pretty much the same.
I find it a bit more dynamic. Yeah, I find it a bit more dynamic, right? It's like digital age, isn't it? It's all a bit more instant, right? Even the reels and those kind of things, and you don't have to prep too much, but you can still generate quite a nice presentation, I would say. Stay on that. That's one of the biggest lessons learned this year. It's a nice piece of wood, that, isn't it? Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
It's now a helmet for unfortunately, because was probably the worst funnel I've ever made. Right?
Oh God.
I completely destroyed it, but I did make a beautiful box out of the tenon that I'd left on it, thankfully.
Right.
But, yeah, ruined that.
Right. And there's some laser, some 3D printed.
Oh, look, there's a 3D print. That 3D printed picture there is this, and it's actually a gyroscopic 3D print, so you can actually manipulate and move it. It's quite an impressive thing. I didn't design it, I printed it, but just to print it was quite an interesting thing.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah, that worked really well. The challenge being you have to it's a bit of a challenge on the tailstock end if you want to so what I used it for, and I came to understand it a little bit better what it's designed for. It's designed for making jewelry and pendant jewelry.
Yeah.
Right? So you cut a circle, and then you can turn it down with an off-center hole.
That's right, because you put a hole there. Then.
Yeah. And it works really, really well for that.
I made one of those years ago to put to make round pendants. Right, cool. Where are we? Stop sharing. All right. So, let's talk wizardry in wood. I mean, you went to that recently, didn't you?
Yeah. What an experience that was, right? So a lot of the people I've got books over here, the people I follow, not celebrities on Instagram or minor celebrities on Instagram, right? But I would say professional wood turners in the fine art kind of spectrum, right? A lot of them, who I look up to, look for inspiration, even just as a new turner, right? They're names that we'd all come across. It was a great experience. They had so much time for us. Matt Held, if Matt Held's in here, he's over from Kansas City. He's a friend of mine, a virtual friend of mine that's traveled, halfway across the world to go to this event and see a few wood turners face to face and get some lessons this week. He was there for 2 days, but we had a phenomenal experience there. I don't know if anyone knows, well, you should know, Stuart Mortimer. I didn't really know of him before the event, but he had some phenomenal work there. And as someone who everyone in the professional community looks up to, and his wares were selling for upwards of £10,000-12,000 on his stall, right? There's some amazing work there. He gave Matt and I 90 minutes, at least chatting to us about how he does his work, how he turns his forms, how he manipulates them into variegated forms, and it was brilliant, right? And there were a lot of people there. Martin Sabin Smith was there doing demos. Les Thorne was there. Phil Irons was there. Sally Burnett, if anyone knows of Sally Burnett, if you don't, look up her work. Her work's unbelievable at the moment. We saw some incredible stuff from Sally. Margaret Garrett from Yorkshire, who does some amazing piercing work and colouring work with that piercing. Just incredible. And to be able to meet these people in person, I said to more than one person, right? Everything's been going on like this down the screen. To be able to stand next to someone and have a proper conversation with them, and shake their hand, bump their fist, whatever was the order of the moment, right? Was just at first it was a bit of a daunting experience because we're just not used to being around that many people at the moment. I'm not saying it was crowded, but there are a few people there. But yeah, it's brilliant, and for £10 for the day, just a great experience. The competitions, if you're a maker and you're a wood turner, from what I could see, the work was fantastic and brilliant, but we should all have a go. There are categories that we could all enter if we feel so inclined, right? And it's just an experience, I imagine, to see your own work amongst other people's, because they just lay everything out on the tables. It's incredible. There are hundreds of pieces on some of the tables, but everything was beautiful work.
I'd love to have gone. I was offered a a ticket, but Cheryl had a hospital appointment, so we couldn't make it. Tommy's Workshop's got a question for you, Adam. What software for laser are you using?
Yeah, so look, Tommy, I am using Lightburn at the moment. Rich has tried to get me onto Laser Gerbil, but for some reason my laser, the way I'm pressing the buttons, isn't communicating with that yet. But yeah, I'm using Lightburn at the moment. The software that comes with the machine won't allow me to load SVGs, and when it does, they look all out of shape and a bit strange. So so I'm steering clear of that at the moment until they develop it. But I'm looking at Lightburn, and if I can get Laser Gerbil to work, then that's free. So I'd rather go that route, but we'll see.
Right, we've got some extra people coming in. Dan, the Siding Workshop. We've got Sneaks Wall Arts. Zombie Woodturner is in. Who else did I see that snuck in there somewhere? That was it. Yeah, I think that was just a few. So I know you at the very beginning you were saying that you started watching videos and stuff like that. But what drew you to YouTube in the very first place to watch woodturning videos? What kind of inspired you to do that?
So look, I used to play a lot of sport to a relatively high level, and I say relatively high level, just town type competitive at a later age. When I was younger, I was playing national level at a very younger age, but my body no longer stands up to that at all. Right, so rugby, hockey, cricket, there's always someone faster, right? There's always someone faster, someone harder, right? And the recovery times are ridiculous, right? So when it became quite clear that I'm not able to do that anymore, also with children, right? So or Wilbur, being away from home for the whole day on a Saturday, every Saturday, or on a Sunday, every Sunday, and training 2 or 3 times a week, all that kind of thing, just doesn't fit in very well with a family life, with a young family. I was looking for something to do, right? And I've always felt like I should be creative, but I can't paint, I can't draw. I can play a bit of piano, I'll play music a little bit, or I have done in the past. But I was looking for something to be creative, and some reason wood turning, there's a little bit of maths involved, there's creativity involved with your mind, and then with your hands. And apart from what this has become, it didn't involve sitting in front of a square screen looking at video, which I do from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at morning at work. But then obviously I've ruined that, because now I've got 4 screens in here, 6 cameras, and so that's not happening now. But the creativity side of it, using a different side point in my brain, and keeping myself active in a way. Plus, I wanted to learn a skill to share with my little one as well when I get a bit older. As much as that might sound, that's exactly right. I'd like to share something down that isn't project management, because Wilbur's not going to be that interested in project management, is he, when he gets a bit older?
It's like I was taught. We were discussing the other day when we were chatting about the next generation of woodturners, without sharing the knowledge with our young people, it'll just die out. Woodturning will die out. So it's really important to get the youngsters interested. And let's face it, the way that they can combine technology now with woodturning with CNCs and lasers and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm looking forward to see what they come up with.
There are two young woodturners that spring to mind that I've come across recently. There's a young lad called DJ, who's been through the AWGB amateur kind of program, and he's learning. I think he won a 3rd prize at Wizardry in Wood this year but he's only really just starting, I think. And another chap called Owen Schroeder, who's come out of Phil Iron's kind of stable, who are doing phenomenal work as really young turners. And I think it's definitely something that people are now getting interested in at a younger age, to be honest.
Well, look at Caitlin the cat. I don't know if you've seen any.
Yeah,
of
definitely.
Caitlin.
Yeah.
But she started. I think she's been turning for 3 years now, something like that, maybe 4. So, shall we have a little tour of your shop? Is that all right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
If you had some Star Wars music, I'd do you a little bit of a fly. I'd do you a fly through of a selection of work, but I'll save you from that. So right, I've got well, let's do the shelf of finishes, right? So this shelf is full of Hampshire Sheen products. It's full of chestnut. There's a bit of chestnut at the back in terms of lemon oil and their sanding sealer. And I've got some cutting board oils and things like that up here. Some paints.
Sorry.
My prized possession is my Vicmark VL 240. So that turned up during lockdown. I mean, because I ordered it, it didn't just turn up, right? But turned up during lockdown. And obviously I was here on my own, right, in my workshop. It weighs 500 kgs as it stands, plus a little bit. I had to get that off the 2 pallets that it came on. And when I say it came on 2 pallets, it was too high, not too wide.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then and I videoed it on a time lapse because I had to put it on Egyptian style rollers and roll it across the floor. It was an effort, right? So, but yeah, that's my pride and joy. I decided that very early on that I'd had one lathe given to me, I'd bought a lathe, and I was already thinking, what am I going to get next? Some of the guys that are here will know that I was in bed laid up for about 6 or 7 weeks. And during that time, I just got to the point of thinking, I'll sell my car and I'll buy a lathe out of some of the proceeds. And that's kind of what happened. But I've gone to the last lathe I should ever need, except for the one I bought the other week. But yeah. But that's kind of what happened. So yeah, it sits there, pride of place in my workshop. It's a swivel head, so it turns round. The head turns round, and it's got an outboard on the end, so I can do large turnings. But yeah, my pride and joy. Above it, we've got a record AC400 air cleaner, which I'll be honest, I don't switch that on during the time I'm working, but as I leave my workshop, I switch it on and I set it because it's got a timer on the side for a 2-hour clean, and I blow my compressor over everything. It starts the dust going around the room, and then over time it clears it. This is my streaming screen, which is right above my lathe, so I can see the chat and I can see what's going on most of the time with people when I'm live, which is quite handy. And I have a halo over the top of the bed so that I get some light. And this is my dust extraction, which works really well. And I was gifted this, so I was gifted it with my small Vic, which is over here. Ian Botham on the wall, my hero. I won't say why. And then my tool rack, which I built, which is normally full of tools, but I've been doing some work. But yeah, I like my tools horizontal on the wall, not on their handles. It just seems to be a more appropriate way to store them, but that's just my way of thinking. Here we have. This is a VL100 lathe that I bought on eBay 6 weeks ago for £500. And in that £500, I got a ton of wood, all sorts of wood, pens, and everything else to go with it. But this is, for scale, it's tiny, absolutely
It's lovely,
tiny.
isn't it?
Yeah, and in my hand, that's the small tool rest, right, for it. So you get an idea of the scale, and it's not a toy.
Yeah.
It weighs close to 90 kilos.
Oh wow!
As it stands, so it's very solid. If I can reach over the back, I've got a tiny little record bandsaw. It's done the job, but very soon it's going to need to be replaced because that won't allow me to process these big chunks of monkey puzzle and walnut that I have in the corner over here. A nice Metabo dust extractor, which I haven't really piped up too well yet, but I've got all sorts of pipes ready to go to fix to the wall. And under these boxes in the corner's a circular saw, but I imagine that's what happens to everyone's table saw, right? It just gets turned in. It's a flat space to put things on.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's dumping ground. Oh. Don't know what's happened there. Maybe he's pulled the lead out or something.
Big chunks of spalted beech as well. That I've just got there, and as I say, since getting into turning things that look like this, and working out how to find, this is a hard maple burl, quite a large one. Since finding them, I'm no longer interested in this. So yeah, this is all boxwood, which I'm quite proud of. That's why I never turn it. And that's it really. A few little Christmas ornaments knocking around.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my. I've got all sorts of screens, right? I'm all tooled up with screens because this is my office for IBM. So, so yeah, I work here. If there's one thing I would like to recommend to everybody, if you ever get the chance of buying a microfiche cupboard, which I've got here, and that's what this was. It came from Essex University a long time ago. These are incredibly useful. The drawers are extremely deep.
Oh, right.
And you can fit 1,001 things into these drawers. Yeah, I wouldn't like to try and move it when it's full, but I'll tell you, it's saved there's a lot of things there in that small space in the corner. What else? Oh, there's the new laser. That's the new laser, which has a camera underneath, and is a Z-axis for autofocus. I think it was £350 on Kickstarter, so it's quite a good bargain at the time, I thought. And then up there, I've got my 3D printer, which just sits up on the corner. So I'm trying to use every bit of available space. It's not a small workshop by any means, but not small by any means, but I'm managing to fill the space, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You the more space you have, the more you fill it up with things.
Yeah, that's a short tour of
brilliant. Well, cheers for that. But we're coming. Well, we're just going over half an hour. Do you want to show us a few of the things? Because it's like what I said the other day about you've only been wood turning for since January. Some of the stuff that you're producing is just outstanding. I mean, that one with the blue, with the clear finial on it. Is it? Yeah. I mean,
this is a piece of brown oak. I mean, it doesn't look very brown, does it? But it's all of that. That's the color of the original wood. This is a finial that was, the top half is wood, but it's coated with Joe Sonia paint, several different colours of Joe Sonia paint. And then
Yeah.
that's milliput. There was a YouTube cross-channel challenge, and this was it was a water challenge, and I created this. So it's a seed pot from the Akamo tribe was what was my inspiration. It's hollow, it's a hollow form, and it's supposed to represent water. And then this is flowing water, and I spun that on the lathe and then cut it with a can't remember the name of it now. It's one of those Proxon with a Proxon long neck.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then this is a milliput band, obviously around the middle with black and blue mixed together with two white bands above and below. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. What else have we got? We've got I think every woodturner has to try one of these.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what this is, but this is the old bowling ball, and some might say I cheated because I put a sycamore bead round for the box insert, but I kind of like that. George Watkins, I guess, was inspiration for the bead round here, but that's a bowling ball. This was my first ever milliput and first ever double bowl, so it's brown oak at the bottom and sapele at the top, with a copper wire band that was stripped out of a mains power cable, and a blue milliput band around the middle. But it kind of works, and it's got some bronzing inside as well from something called Goldfinger, which I quite like to use for embellishing and giving a nice kind of burnished look to metallic look to bowls.
Lovely. And
I guess we should. This is my very first coloured piece. So this is a bowl that I did from Martin Sabin Smith, having attended one of his coloured workshops online. It's nothing special. As you can see, it's lovely and thin at the bottom.
Ooh. You were lucky with that one.
It's a feature. It's an absolute feature, that is. Someone might call that a funnel, but there's nothing going through there, I can tell you.
No, it's not a funnel. Not a funnel.
And then let me show you the only piece I've got left, because I've sold the others. This is a piece of monkey puzzle bowl, and cool. Monkey puzzle is the thing that I'm most excited about turning these days. It is just beautiful, and you don't need to do anything to it to
amazing, isn't it, that?
To embellish it. It's just crazy what the wood does for itself if you get the right. This has got a bit of spalting. The black's a bit of spalting, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to turn monkey puzzle when it's right. If it's wrong, if it's not dry or it's very wet, then yeah. And then I do like to do some fun stuff. So I've got I had these, and then when my son was born, came to 1-year-old, I had to make a tiny little one as well. But they're fun things to do for Christmas, little penguins.
Brilliant. So what are you working on at the moment then?
Well, I've kind of got. It's really weird, right? I feel like it's probably a step back, but I saw some apples at Wizardry and Wood, and I've kind of got, I don't know, into something where I think I want to do something every day. So these are apples that I've recently turned. And while they're very simple and everything else, they're very pleasing to turn. So I'd recommend to anyone who's looking for something to do, if you stand at your lathe and you don't know what to do, turn some fruit. It's really good fun, and you can colour it because these are all the same piece of wood. I just recommend that. That's really exciting. It's not really exciting, but it's nice to stand at the lathe if you don't know what you want to do. And think, oh, I'm just going to turn a piece of fruit then, because that's the thing that if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll go and do, and it takes a lot of the pressure off. And then I did one of these.
Oh, look at that!
Which is a Singapore ball, which looks really impressive. The hardest part's working out where your holes are going to go, and then just the creation of a tool that creates an egg shape internally that you can drop a spike in, press a spike into. But it's really good fun, and it's a nice aid to fidget. It's a fidget thing. But so there's plenty of stuff. Got a few things like a little boxwood box that I made, which I'm quite proud of, that little thing. What else? And this was a collaborate. The first wood turner to come into my workshop since the start of the pandemic was Stephen Jeremiah, and we made this together over a period of about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is kind of his thing.
It's brilliant, that is.
Yeah, and that's hollow. So,
right, okay.
Yeah. That's it really.
Helen says, "Where's the coffee?"
Oh, well, the coffee's up here, look. In the corner, that orange speck in the corner is an espresso machine.
Okay.
So it sits there and gets well used during my lives if I'm not drinking alcohol-free Peroni or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Right then. We're coming to the end. So, do you have a few shout-outs for us?
Yeah. Can you remember who I said? Gav. Are you still here, Gav?
Gav had to go. He had to go earlier on, but
Jason Locke. Yeah, Jason Locke. I'd like everyone to have a look at Jason Locke. He's a chap who, again, I found out he lives 3 or 4 miles away from me in Essex. But his work with resin and creating resin blanks is just creates some astonishing shades. That square bowl there with it's unbelievable to see it.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's a master with resin, and the integration of balls into that resin is crazy. So he's a chap who was exhibiting at Wizardry in Wood and was there on the Saturday and Sunday, unfortunately. So I didn't get to meet him because I was there on the Thursday. But yeah.
So is Jason always in that chair then?
Yeah, I believe that's his turning position. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Some beautiful pieces on here.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, look at
it
that.
Might not be everyone's cup of tea, right? But I know a lot of the people that will be on this tonight will be a resin wood mixed group, right?
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And that piece there. So if you go back to it, when you see that in person, I think I got to see it the other day. It's perfectly cut around this outside, but the burl still exists on the same plane on the other side. So it's still a lumpy burl, but it goes into the polished polished resin. It's crazy.
Yeah, so check him out, guys. I don't know if has he got you. Did you say he had YouTube? Because I couldn't find him.
I don't think he does YouTube. I think he's on Instagram. I think he's on. He's got his own website, although it doesn't look like it works. And he's definitely on Facebook as well. But Jason Ilovewoodturning on Instagram, yeah.
And the other one was Gav, wasn't it? Let's just bring Gav up.
Well, he set me up for this, so I've got to get my own back, right? So when's part 2? The return. Gav said, "Hey, the return." Yeah. Gav and I were kind of around at the same time, and there's a few other names in here that I recognise. Mr. Rob CP, right? Rob CP. He and I were on Martin Saban-Smith's right back in the day, right? He's one of those guys that I now follow. I look up to. I could never have the patience that man has. Some of those things that he turned, right? The trembleur. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I know that he doesn't. I don't think he seeks the limelight. He certainly doesn't put himself out there as a great turner, right? But the things that he turns out are just astonishing. You know, you look at those miniature goblets. I've never turned a goblet, never will turn a goblet, but I can still respect. I can still respect it.
Definitely.
This is as close as I've ever got to a goblet. There you go. It's a seed. It's a flower with a seed, right? I'll never turn a goblet.
Right. So anyway, that's it. Adam, thanks for coming on. Thanks for showing your workshop and answering a few questions.
No problem.
Keep up the wood turning, because you've gone such a long way in such a short amount of time. Considering some of the stuff you've got there is absolutely stunning. And thanks for coming on. Thanks to everybody in the chat that's jumped in tonight and given a few questions and put your pennies worth in. Well, not that you haven't, but but yeah, I do appreciate it, guys. Anyway,
me too.
So next Tuesday live will be Andy H is returning. It's his week next week. And I'm not sure who I'm invading next week. Maybe it'll be a bit of a secret. I'm not sure yet, but we'll I'll let you know in good time. Anyway, right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.